Hello, everyone, and welcome to another ownership report. Today we are joined by the Umbra team. So I want to welcome Kru and Abbas. Hey guys, how you doing?
Hey man, doing good. Exciting times. Good to be back on the show. It's been a while.
Dude, I'm just glad that I have internet and I don't have DMs from 8-bit uh, and bullying me about on every TG chat that I am on with him. So glad to be here, guys. What's up?
I am also very happy to finally have you guys on here. I mean, it's been a while. I think there's been a lot of developments with Umbra, so I'm very excited to discuss. Um, First of all, or no, sorry, on what's next with Umbra. I think first, I'd love to hear a little bit about what's been happening in the past
Mhm.
couple months with Umbra. Like, what have you guys been up to? Maybe ever since the OTC proposal, and just how things have been looking at. I don't know if you guys have an office, but maybe an maybe a virtual office. How things have been looking over there. Yeah, I'd love to hear all about it.
You want to go ahead, Abbas, or should I?
Um, Go ahead. I'll add to it.
Yeah. So what we did for all these months is just try to figure out how the initial idea that we had about Umbra could be built. And we've certainly, reached a point where there needs to be a situation where we climb up the stairs, and that requires a lot of restructuring, planning, developing a strategy, and placing like concentrated bets on what we want to do. So since the last proposal, I think that's something that we've been working on, is to develop what's new, what's upcoming in the next couple of quarters for us, and just directly build against or for that signal. I'm sorry. So it's just rebuilding around one job that users actually showed up for, and which the signal says it's far bigger than sending just a private transaction. So that's what's been happening.
And by the way, anytime I asked any of you a question, like whoever goes first, like
Mhm.
Kru, if you go first, Abbas, you can feel free to add something to
Yeah.
it. So if you have anything to say about the past couple months, I'm also
Mhm.
very like we'd love to hear your perspective as well.
Yeah. No, for sure. I think it's mostly what Crew said, right? I think just getting our rigor right, getting our focus right on what's next for Umbra. We had a phenomenal, I believe, a phenomenal 3 or 4 months. Like we went live somewhere around April, if I'm not wrong, and the first month was just setting the foundation, right? So we weren't marketing our product as heavily. We weren't trying to get traction as much. We're just getting our core user base and our holders to use the product so that we can validate a lot of our thesis. And as we started to grow, we realized a lot more things needed to change with the underlying infra, the products. A lot of our focus had to change and develop, and we learned so much from that. So it's been a massive opportunity for us to really set a strong foundation for what we just announced is V2 of Umbra.
I think this is going to be a great segue into what's coming next with Umbra, but I really want to know what has been like the biggest challenge when it comes to Umbra. Like after your app went live, obviously I tried it. It's a really beautiful wallet. It's really one of the best wallet experiences out there. But as always, with you guys are very much an early stage company, a startup, so there's always going to be difficult things, maybe technical difficulties or anything else. So, what has been the biggest challenge so far?
You can go, Crew.
Um, sure. Yeah, this I think this happens with every early stage company, which is you try to do a lot of things at once. You hit as many targets as you want, and then you narrow down to something that actually works. So this was said to us by Josh, who we had a workshop with in the last month, which is basically understanding what the difference between a plan and strategy is. What we were operating on until now was just a plan, which is you build many things, you execute things as perfectly as you can, you win some and you lose the most. What we are working on right now is a strategy which is a coherent bet on what we want to win on, which means this is actually a slight pivot from what we were building, which was being private during a transaction, and what we are pivoting towards is a sanctuary, a safe haven for people where it's not just transactional privacy, but it's something that where people are completely private just by being inside it. So that's a change that we are looking forward to, and that's what's going on. Abbas, do you have anything else to add to this?
Um, yeah, I mean, a lot of our challenges, like we've discussed this, I think, in the announcement we posted or in Kru's recent updates, that we had design constraints. So the product, for the most part, anyone that's too close to the to the kitchen always tends to look at it as like extremely messy, right? But the product of the dish is if good enough, is appreciated by most people. So a lot of our products were appreciated by many, including U8Bit, and that's a good signal for us. But we realized a lot of the stuff that we built in the UX of these products was dependent on constraints that we did not necessarily need to have going forward. So, for example, the experience of claiming bolts, it adds a lot of complexity to the end user. And Umbra has been a believer in trying to abstract as much of the complexity from privacy as possible, because you've seen all these other privacy protocols and solutions that they tend to be very fringe and niche. They're built for a specific high intent developer or builder base that understands the complexity or is willing to hop to the complexity of privacy. We wanted to reach the user where they are, and that would not happen with the existing constraints. So we needed to fix those constraints. That means we had to structure the infra and improve it. So that's primarily been the constraints we dealt with, and the challenges we learned from, and we're fixing those.
So, more concretely, what is this new V2 vision? What is going to change with Umbra, with this new version of Umbra? Am I gonna, like, as a user, first and foremost, what's going to change when V2 comes out, and when does it come out, by the way?
We're aiming for Q4. Um, but that is a timeline we've established based on our estimates of our team's capacity, and that timeline can change or decrease depending on the amount of talent we're able to onboard, allocate resources with actively hiring people for appropriate roles and so on. So the timeline is, we're optimistic about Q4. Um, but broadly, as for what it changes for the user, there's benefits that the user will receive that are that can go into the privacy parts of it. But the most immediate one that any user cares about is just improved UX. If I had to make a more obvious feature use case, it would be improved speeds. So one of the things that anyone that's used Umbra must have experienced, or any privacy protocol for that matter must have experienced, that speeds do tend to be pretty slow and pretty jarring for the end user, and they're not used to that kind of speed on a public blockchain, especially after Solana has been around for the last 5 years. And adding on top of that a layer of friction and then making it slow and cumbersome is not exactly the best experience for any user, let alone for a high value product. So we've gotten rid of that. We've improved a lot on that front. The privacy has improved by magnitudes. You can now, and maybe Kru can dive deeper on this as well. We've announced unified anonymity shielded pools. What that means is it's a multi-asset shielded pool. What that means is previously on Umbra, if you had Solana or USDC or USDT or Umbra or whatever, when you use those tokens or hold those tokens within those pools. The anonymity of those tokens depends on the anonymity set of each of those tokens. So if Crew holds 100 Umbra, I had to possibly, or like 100 other people had to use Umbra within those pools 100 times for the score to be 100 and for it to be anonymous enough for him to send his capital out. Now that's no longer the case because you can share anonymity across Sol, USDT, USDC, and countless other assets. So if you have, let's say, a random meme coin that you just created yesterday and you deposit on Umbra, and if it's enabled as a shielded pool, you'll be able to leverage the anonymity set of Solana, which is probably much higher because people are routing capital in Solana through the pools. It's an example of a use case. I'm sure Kru can go in more feature sets.
Yeah. I mean, I think Abbas talked really well about what the UX features are and, what these unified pools are going to be. I think the explanation was perfect, by the way. What we are trying to do is basically have a different ambition towards what we are building. Um, like the moment you decide that you are going to be a place where people keep their wealth rather than just visit to pass a transaction, the entire design requirement changes completely. Uh, like trust cannot sit with one single operator, including just us. It's an architecture, that is completely changing. The decisions are made about decentralizing trust, and I genuinely think this is a normal way a product or an infrastructure company matures as the stake rises. So apart from all the UX, benefits, I think this we are playing a game at a higher level now, and this is like a huge change from what we were expecting just a year ago.
So, just to clarify, does that mean that Umbra is moving on from Arcium? So, are you guys gonna have your completely own infrastructure from zero, or like, could you
Mhm.
tell me a little bit more about what kind of infrastructure you guys will be running or how that'll work?
Yeah, sure. I can give you like slight technical details. I cannot go on, with everything. I think Cal would be the best person to explain this. But again, all credits to Arcium here. They are genuinely an impressive team. They helped us so much in bringing like private computation to Solana faster than we could have ever built on our own. And it did exactly what an early dependency is supposed to do: get us to real users. So kudos to whatever Arcium has done, but it's time that we move on to something else, something that we own a complete the entire stack from top to bottom. Um, yeah, uh, that's all we have. And for the tech, right? What we are basically doing is that we are thinking from a perspective that trust can't sit with one single operator, including Umbra, and which guided us to build a guardian committee, which is spread across independent hands. Um, it's a decision about decentralizing trust. So this is like a hint towards where we are going. More details about it in the future for sure.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much follow up on the same thing. That is, we are right now in the process of getting the architecture strengthened. Like we are actively consulting any and everybody that we can in cryptography, in ZK, in network security and strength. Someone who's built infra services, especially in privacy and in general in the space
Mhm.
of scaling systems, to be able to build a resilient and sufficiently decentralized system to be able to allow anyone to participate and access private environments for with better speeds and better UX. We're going to drip a little more information about the technical details over the course of the next few weeks and months. But that's about all we can say right now.
I think one concern that some people may have, or an interesting perspective, would be you guys are mostly a product company. You guys make products, and now
Mhm.
you're turning into an infrastructure company. Does that mean
Mhm.
that you're gonna have more people on working on everything. Like, don't you think it's gonna, your attention is not gonna be, it's gonna be too scattered, and you may end up with more, well, more things, but with lesser quality.
Funny enough, we were already an infra company, right? It's
Yeah.
just that we were reliant on an external party and its resilience and performance to be able to deliver on our infra promises. For example, we built the SDK that was built on top of Arcium, and we delivered not just our product, but anyone that wanted to use Arcium used Umbra SDK to deliver on that promise. Um, but that also came with a lot of constraints and dependencies because we had to make sure that Arcim was up, Arcim was running, there was no problems, there was no contention for hotspots, and a lot of other things. With our own infra, when we get to manage the end to end of it, fortunately, we have a capable team to be able to do that, but we also have to be hiring people that are experts in places that we are not. So we understand our gaps fairly well, and that's been the part of the last 1 month, 1.5 month for us is really accounting for what we know and what we don't, and then filling those gaps in. So we were already an infra company. It's just that it was not our primary bread and butter. We did not sell it. We did not actually go behind it because we had constraints, and we focused on the product so we could dog food that infra layer. Now that we understand the infra much better, because like I said, once you have sufficient boxes and constraints around what you can and cannot do, and once you take off those weights, it's suddenly like massive opportunities you can explore, right? And all the things that we could not do before is now something the team can do. So uh, yeah, that's pretty much it. We're trying to account for everything, and we think we have a pretty strong grip of what we can do.
Yeah, and I feel like owning the tech stack from top to bottom also means that the execution gets faster and better. Uh, of course, we are a good product team, but now just owning the entire stack just helps us plan the product much better, look out for all the blind spots that we've had so far. Um, like if the product team and the infra team just works together, we know what the limits are to what we can do and what we cannot do. So it's just a better option to go for, and I'm glad that we are taking this route.
I'm also wondering how this will affect existing builders or applications built on top
Hmm.
of Umbra. You guys have an SDK, and like you've had, a hackathon where people
Hmm.
participated in that. So, will anything change for those people, or will it be mostly the same experience with maybe a couple speed bumps?
Yeah, there would be a couple of speed bumps for sure, which is first going to them and talking to them about how do we move them from the current architecture to the next. But the good thing here is that the move is actually going to be really fast. Instead of taking a couple of weeks just to have your program deployed on Umbra, what happens is the timeline just reduces to a day or even lesser than a day, which makes it much easier. Plus, you know, uh, it's going to be way more reliant on us and way more, uh, just a stronger use case to move towards the new architecture because it's going to open up possibilities for the SDK users as well. Um, yeah. Abbas, you got anything to add to this?
Sorry, I was micro distracted. But yes, I think for broadly anyone that's already been a part of our stack, it is just going to make a massive improvement to their use cases. So fortunately, after a hackathon that we last hosted and a couple ones that we hosted after that is most like bounty style engagements, we had massive interest in people trying out unique use cases and products using the stack that we had built or put together, but they weren't able to achieve those goals. It was just
Mhm.
extremely hard for them to get over the line, and this should fix a lot of those problems. So now we're probably much easier in a much better spot to enable those use cases and work with these teams.
And one product that, you know, that I was really, really amazed with when I tried out with Umbra. And this is, kind of within the topic of multiple products and infra. Um, like Payroll was such an amazing experience. We tried it out a couple days ago for our team at ownership, and it was a really amazing experience. I'm really looking forward to actually using it for, all of our payrolls. So I'm really glad that, you guys are trying to expand to, different areas and trying things out, because the user experience and the whole, like the approach that Payroll takes, was really something that was needed for us to stay organized. And especially, something like salaries are, I would say, one of the most important, or one of the most widespread use cases where you want it to be private. So how do you guys, how did that come up? Like, how did payroll come up, and do we expect that to evolve over time? Is that something you guys are also focusing on now besides the wallet? Uh, what kind of products
Yeah.
are you guys, you know, is the main focus of Umbra today? Is it the wallet, the
Yeah.
payroll, and then the infrastructure? Is that like the holy trinity?
hmm hmm Yeah, I would say that's what we've been doing since the last 6 months, right? Which is planning a few things, executing on them, see what sticks. And we are fortunate enough, and we are like glad that this payroll product has turned out to be the way it is right now. It's still in its MVP stage, and I'm glad that you already like it in its MVP stage. So there's just it's gonna go up, get better from now on. Uh, but like you said, this is the holy trinity for us as of now, which is building the infrastructure and alongside build the web app and the payroll app. What we're actively doing right now is onboard more teams for the payroll, because as many teams, we just keep on onboarding over the next quarter. It's just going to help us more with our anonymity sets as well. The added benefit to it is for the users too, which is private payroll, of course. And just now, and again, this is my responsibility, which is on the UX side of things, is to make it as simple as running normal payroll, where people do not, realize that their payroll is completely public. Uh, Umbra is just trying to make everything completely private without, adding the burden of adding privacy to it. So yeah.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. Just I think payroll has been a massive eye opener for us. We've always wanted to be in the same spots as where the user is, and the constraint with privacy is like if you end up being in a niche, isolated spot where someone has to come to you for privacy, it's just like a bad experience, right? So if you like bring privacy to places where most people tend to spend most of their time on chain or with finances, and just make it a default experience where a business or a core product offers it as a default part of their service, it makes privacy much more acceptable and natural for the end user. So for us, as we built out the product, like we already mentioned, we realized that a lot of people love the product regardless of the privacy. I think they enjoyed the fact that it was a good enough payroll product that did X, Y, Z. And we had similar feedback from a bunch of other teams as well. Now it's all about getting the finer details of the product right, and what that means for an end user to have like this full suite financial experience, to get paid, and to be able to do a bunch of other stuff that we have in the pipeline that we'll eventually get to. Um, but right now it's just about scaling efforts, and which we are actively also hiring for, by the way. So I'm going to use the opportunity when I can. That is, we're really looking for strong talent on many fronts, and one of those is a good sales and BD hire, someone that can lead strong execution with payroll too. We've spent a lot of our time on payroll, but we need someone to also be able to own that piece, right? So we've been actively speaking to a lot of great potential hires. So in process of that. But yeah, payroll is a massive opportunity. We think it's going to be one of our flagship products, and we're excited to launch the next version of it.
I kind of hope you guys make some features where, there, where it's going to be synergistic with the wallet. So maybe some features they can do with payroll, you can only do
Mhm.
with the Umbra wallet. I think there's a lot there's definitely very good synergies there that you could take advantage of. So I'm really pumped for
Mhm.
that. Abbas, this is something that I really liked. Not too long ago, you tweeted that shying away from token talk is annoying, so you want to change it.
Yeah.
And this V2 announcement is, I think, a perfect opportunity because Umbra is transitioning into something a lot more. And from what I can tell from the announcement, and correct me if I'm wrong, Umbra is going to play a major role in this new infrastructure, or it's going to take on a much bigger role. So let's talk about that. How is Umbra going to fit into this picture? And I mean the Umbra token.
Yeah. Like I mentioned, even the article itself, right? We were pretty what we established over the last few months, and even in the recent governance attack or attempted an attack on Umbra's treasury, we can talk about that as well. It displayed to us the fact that Umbra has a much more critical role in the future and security of not just the company but the network itself that you're building, and it is critical that we treat it as such, right? Umbra's already been an important part of our business. We are a token business. We were a token business, so we did treat it so. It was obvious in our efforts with the Umbra ownership platform, our attempts at engaging with partners, investors, and holders as much as possible. But I feel like we've done 20% of what we can do. We can do a lot more. So the economic benefits of Umbra being involved as a core part of the business and the network and its security is not as like we haven't spoken about it a lot, and I want to change that. So when I made that tweet, I was primarily referring to a lot of teams generally shying away from even mentioning the token. Like they just absolutely do not mention the token, and I think that creates this cycle and this vicious cycle of people never addressing feedback or market commentary or just not engaging with holders or investors, having a very um, having no involvement in what story gets told about you as a company. And that was one of my responses as well under my tweets. That is, we want to control what story we tell about Umbra and its involvement in the network, and that starts with engaging with the holders. So that's one. Two, as part of the network, we're still undecided on how it fits exactly into the network. We have like 10, 20 options of how it can be a part of the network and it can play a critical role, but it's just going to be one or two core things that we do right so that the attention and focus of the Umbra holder is on those parts and they know exactly what their role is in the larger network. So we haven't decided what that is yet, but as we do comes to completion, we'll have a response on that too. But just know that that's an active point of interest for us.
Kru, I saw you kind of nodding here, so I'd love to hear your thoughts.
And whenever I hear Abbas talking about the token, I'm just in awe because wherever he has these ideas, I I just take a back seat and just look at it and appreciate. My usual focus is on the product these days, and I just genuinely focus on that. But I am glad with all the ideas that we have on paper for now, and like I said, one or two out of these 20 ideas that we have will be executed, and will be executed in the right way, not just a throwaway idea that you come in with the Umbra tokens and help the network out. It's going to be a core mechanism behind what we do next. So really excited for what it is.
I'd also love to touch on, Abbas, you already mentioned, but the Umbra governance attack. I thought it was fascinating, and it went really well. And to me, as somebody who loves decision markets and loves nerding out, to me it was entertaining. But I think for you guys, it would have been probably very scary, and
Yeah.
um, yeah, and you guys probably see it from a different angle. So how did you guys react when you first saw? Oh my God, there's this governance attack happening. They just stole from Bonk however many millions of dollars, and now
Yeah.
they're trying to do something
Mm.
similar with you guys. what was your first thought? Like, I just want to know what was the first thought, like your first reaction here. Crew, I want you to go first. I feel like you have a
Yeah.
good answer here.
Listen, man. Uh, I thought it was just an impossible situation to happen. By the way, like I'm not sure who the attacker was, but he was really unprepared on what we already have in the system, which is Futarchy. That would work with whatever happened at Bonk. That shit does not work here at all. Uh, Even before we were noticed about the attack, the community was already prepped and ready for what's about to come. Of course, everyone had different opinions whether this proposal should go live or not. Uh, but the whole idea was that even if it goes live, there was nothing to worry about. I slept like a complete 8 hours after hearing about that noise. But I don't know what's for Abbas here. Uh, for me, it was really evident that it's not going to pass at all.
Yeah, I mean, pretty similar. I first saw the proposal. It came up in the group with Colin sharing it, and it seemed pretty like I would have suspected if you were an attacker, you would do a better job at writing a proposal. You would write something like, "Hey, we want to liquidate Umbra, or you want to do something, or whatever. It doesn't matter." But at least an attempt at making it look legitimate. I think their expectation was that it's one of those bonk-like governance markets where nobody actually cares, and the holders are apathetic to general governance. That's not the case. This Everyone that's involved in decision markets is a shark, and they will chew your head off if you're not sharp enough.
Yeah.
So that's what happened, and I was pretty chill and calm because our partners, investors, anyone we spoke to that holds Umbra was instantly like, "Hey, don't worry about it. That's we're going to trade this market. We're not going to be bystanders. We're going to trade this market." I hold a fair amount of Umbra. A bunch of other people that our team holds, Kru and everybody else, we hold a fair amount of Umbra. So we're like, you know what? If push comes to shove, we do have an opportunity to push back and fight as a team. So we'll do it anyway. I was on the decision market the entire time, at least for the first, at least until the TWAP started. So as soon as the TWAP started, I was probably the first one that saw the spike happen, where I think the pass was pushed and the fail was dumped. And as soon as fail dumped, I sniped all the Umbra I possibly could as fast as I possibly can. My only mistake was I texted someone else saying, "Hey, Umbra's wicked down." And then before I could get a second order buy-in, they snapped it up. So Umbra was at 0.19 or something of that sort. And at that time, it was trading at 0.34 in spot. So it's just the markets are efficient. The markets are pretty efficient on these things, especially if you're trying to run the whole thing without any logical reasoning behind it. And it's just an outright theft from token holders, and they will fight it. So, and Meridao has done a lot of work on making sure the markets cannot be manipulated. So I think the attacker wasn't privy to the fact that you can't just dump the markets in one shot and then like make sure you win. You have to consistently keep trading, and you have to buy us all out essentially at a much higher premium. So we, like Chris said, slept like a baby. You're pretty solid.
So I think the conclusion is definitive here. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys want to have a good night's sleep, all you need is a governance attack on the decision market, and that's it, and that'll do it for you. Okay,
Right.
okay, guys. I think we pretty much covered everything. Is there anything else you guys want to say about Umbra V2? What's next? Or anything else on your mind that we may have missed in this conversation?
hmm Um,
Crew, you
First
can
of
take
all,
first, by the way.
yeah. First of all, I just wanted to address the previous situation as well. Like, just wanted to thank all the token holders, by the way, to participate in the last proposal. I got a couple of DMs about what's going on, what's going to happen, and I think me and the entire team was really honest about it. That it's secure enough. Participate in the markets if you'd like to, and we can beat this proposal really easily. The second is about V2. I'm really excited for what's in the future for us. The team is getting better. The team is getting stronger. It's working more in coherence with each other. All the team members are really aligned towards what we are building. A couple of great hires have come in, and I mean, I'm just really thankful for them to join in as well. Uh, what we are trying to build is of a much higher scale than what we have already built. Uh, it's about not just one product that we are building, which is the web app, but it's also about the payroll app and even more things that we are looking forward to. And there will be more information available to all of y'all. It's Q3 that we are focused on just one thing, which is getting all of these perfected enough for a great release. And more information, like I said, every month with my monthly updates with Abbas and his tweets and our investors as well. So yeah, looking forward to whatever's coming up in Q4.
We do have something on Monday too, by the way. So if
Yeah.
anyone wants like a little bit of a drip of a teaser, you should expect something on Monday that we think is a pretty big deal, and I think it's fundamental and it adds a value to the company. So it is something you'd want to be uh, online for. Just like stay tuned, I guess.
All right, I think that wraps it up for today. I want to thank Abbas and Kru for tuning in, or not tuning in, for turning out. Is that the word?
Turning up.
Turning up, yeah, turning up. We gotta turn up, yeah, for turning up today. No Wi-Fi problems, so I wish we had like a clapping sound effect. Um, but yeah, thank you to all the listeners. Thank you to the Umbra team for coming on. It's been a pleasure, and I'll see everyone next time. Goodbye.
Thanks for having
Likewise,
us.
sir. Take care. Thank you so
Bye.
much.